Hello everyone, my name is Agent 9400, or Agent for short, and welcome back to another video. Now, today I would like to do a Halo 5 year in review, because at the time of this video releasing, the game has been out for a year today. And the reason why I want to do this review is because Halo 5 in its current state is still broken and an unfinished game, to me anyway. I want to do a year in review so I can explain everything wrong with the game and everything I've experienced myself, because I want the game to be bigger and better. As I'm sure a lot of other fans are. Like, I'm not one of those people that loves to hate on the game. I hate on the game and critique it because I want it to be better. For example, I'm going to start criticizing this game a lot because I want it to be amazing again. I love the franchise, and I've been playing Halo since I was 8. This isn't really an example, this is a real life story. My story of how I got into Halo. So I've kind of grown up with Halo. I've been playing it since I was 8. Played Halo 3 for the first time at my uncle's house in 2009. It was 2 years past its launch, which I didn't know at the time, and it was the coolest thing to me. Playing through the campaign was so cool, and playing Xbox Live matches with my buds in 4th grade was an awesome experience. I didn't know about ODST because I was 8 and didn't have a computer or an iPhone that I could keep up with all the news and latest and greatest in gaming like I can now. Years went on and I played other games. I really didn't keep up with anything back then, but I noticed some friends on Xbox Live have this thing next to their game called Halo Reach. Now I'm sure I remember seeing something about Halo Reach, but I don't really remember it. Like, I guess it just didn't faze me. So I saw some buddies playing Halo Reach in 2010, and I'm like, what? A new Halo game? So back in the day on Xbox Store, you could get demos. This was back when game demos were a thing. So we got the Halo Reach demo, me and my 3 other buddies, and we played through the demo all the time. It was half of Long Night of Solace. It was the part where you'd start off the mission, and then you go to where after you defend the station, and that was as far as that mission would go. And then it was one firefight map. We played that a lot, and then soon, slowly, one by one, everyone in the group got it, and I think I was the last to get it, but it soon became my favorite game ever. Over the years, I've probably put 1,000 hours in Halo Reach, with most of it being custom games, because I used to have a clan back in the day. We did custom games like every night over the summer from like 8 to 2 in the morning. Because custom games are fun, man. A year later, Halo 4 came out, and it was the first Halo game played at launch. I was super excited for it and got the limited edition. It was $100, which I kind of regret, but I kind of don't, because, you know, I got my money's worth out of the game, but I wasn't satisfied. It was fun for a bit, then I got super bored of it fast. It just didn't turn out to be good as Reach. Now, the only thing I did like about Halo 4 was Dominion. Yeah, that was fun. It's kind of like Domination from like any other shooter game, but twist. You capture a base and it spawned a vehicle. It was a really cool and unique game mode that was only ever in Halo 4. So that was the only thing that kept me coming back to it, because I just loved Dominion. I got really bored of the game. The custom games weren't as great. I just kind of stopped playing it. I played the DLC when it came out every now and then. I got super pissed when they added a 4th DLC that wasn't a part of the season pass I'd already bought. But the games didn't hold out like I thought it would. So fast forward 3 years to the release of Halo 5, which is a year ago today. I was super hyped for the game, with the Hunt the Truth podcast and the marketing, with all that stuff. Like, I remember listening to the Hunt the Truth podcast and watching like multiple YouTubers, like Halo Channel and Chief Canuck, like their analysis of it. Hunt the Truth was like the best thing I've ever listened to, like story-wise. It was great, loved it. But all that marketing and the podcast just didn't turn out to play any role in Halo 5 whatsoever. Like false advertising that made me super pissed. Because like basically the campaign had nothing to do with it, and as soon as the campaign starts, they kill off the main dude from Spartan Ops, which makes no sense. The Halo 5 campaign was such a letdown, and so much more of it was too, on every level and aspect of the game. Which is where I feel like I should talk everything about Halo 5. Because like I said before, I want it to be great. And I'm critiquing it because I love the game. Well, I love the franchise. I love the franchise, and I want it to be great, because if you're not criticizing something, how's it going to get better? Talking point number 1 I want to make in this video is Warzone and Warzone Firefight, and how I do not like either of these game modes. I'm going to talk about Warzone first because that's been around longer, kinda. But I'm explaining to you why I think Warzone and Warzone Firefight are the same thing. So, back to Warzone. When the game first came out, it was fun, which is, you know, everyone thought it was cool for like maybe a couple hours. I mean, every game is fun for the first couple hours, let's be honest, because you don't know what's bad with the game. Warzone, I didn't like how the bases and the armories were just copied and pasted in different locations, and they were all the same. Like, if you knew one of the bases, you knew all the bases. Like, you didn't have to learn maps as well as you needed to in, say, a Battlefield game, because each person's spawn flag would not be the exact same for every single map, or on the same map to begin with. Like, would you really want to play a Battlefield map where there was one central location and there was 2 other flags on each side, and they were the exact same, and it would have been a symmetrical map. Now there is some symmetrical maps, but they're not the exact same. Like, making a map exactly 100% symmetrical to me is just kind of lazy, especially for a game with like Warzone. It's because there's a lot of players and the maps are big and open. On some of the maps, the bases are kind of just shoved inside of mountains, or they're just sitting somewhere, just like they don't even fit in the environment. They're just sitting like a big, ugly white building. Another thing I don't like about Warzone is the whole rec pack and pay to play, because they've been doing so many, hey, get this Warzone bundle pack for $20 and you get to get 9 weeks of rec packs and you can get exclusive, well not exclusive, but you have a higher chance of winning certain recs from a random number generator. That is totally unfair and anti-consumer, but we don't care because we're Microsoft and we just want to make money. We could care less about our game. That's how I see it anyway. This happens to me in like every game where you can like use weapons or abilities. I just always seem to die immediately after I get it. In the case of Warzone, you can only use them at rec stations and when you spawn in. So it's kind of, so you're not just going to be behind a brick and all of a sudden have a rocket launcher, which you really shouldn't. But I don't know, that's just me, I'm nitpicking too much. And another thing that has to go with Warzone is everything in the Warzone map is dependent on who calls in what recs. I would much rather prefer Warzone to be kind of like Battlefield in the sense that there's 12 on 12 with some vehicles and power weapons around the map. Kind of like Big Team, you know, like classic Big Team battle. You'd spawn in at your bases, you'd have your vehicles, your Hornet or Falcon back in the old days. I like that better instead of everyone having, okay guys, we're going to start at the base and we're going to work our way up and this is what we're going to do. We're gonna be douches and we're gonna run across and take the West Armory, even though the East Armory is our home side. But we're just gonna run all the way over to the West just to piss the other team off. Because why not? It's funny to irritate people online because you can't see their reaction, but it makes them silently rage, and we get gratification from doing that. And then after we do that, we maybe have enough recs to get a vehicle. And then we spawn on the vehicle, we run around the corner, and we get blown immediately by the enemy team's Spartan laser because they were like we were to capture the opposite team's armory. And they blew our vehicle up and all that work was wasted for nothing. And then we had to wait about 10 minutes, well, not 10 minutes, but we had to wait a couple minutes just so we can get a charge up back. They call it another vehicle. It's ridiculous. If I have the appropriate amount of points, I'm gonna call it in. I don't care. I don't want to have to wait for it to recharge. I want to get tanks in constantly. And here's another thing that's super irritating about Warzone. On maps where you can spawn out in the open from the garage, I hate it when people camp there and then hijack you because you cannot shoot them in the animation of coming out of the freaking garage, and as soon as you come out, they jump on you, throw the grenade, blow you up, boom. That's happened to me so many times, and it's just, it's infuriating. Now we're to Warzone Firefight, and I can just rant and rant and rant and rant about this game mode. I think it's absolute trash, but you know what? People on the internet have already done that. I've even done it when the beta was a thing back in, I don't even know how long it was, but there was a beta for a freaking game mode, which I don't even think that's ever been a thing before. But it's still broken to this day. And if you don't believe me, check out the Actman's video on like it's like an encyclopedia of Warzone glitches, and one of my clips is in there, so that's pretty cool. On to Warzone Firefight for real this time. My biggest complaint about the game mode is that I don't like that they're hijacking what Firefight used to be, and it is now basically, I call it Warzone AI, because you're on Warzone maps using Rex, shooting AI, Warzone AI. See what I mean here? I mean, the only cool thing about the game mode is that whenever you have 8 people in a party, you can see everyone's armor and color, which you can't really do that much in the game besides free-for-all and infection, which I like. But that's basically the only positive I have about Warzone Firefight. I'm not going to go into it because, like I said, there's people who've already done that. But Warzone Firefight, I just don't like, and I miss old Firefight. ODST Firefight was the best. Halo Reach was cool for custom games. Firefight is just a way for Microsoft to make money. That's the only reason why they made that game mode. Talking point 2 I'd like to make is arena multiplayer. At the start of the game, there's only 5 playlists, and they were all competitive, which is really annoying considering how they were all variants of Slayer except for Team Arena. What's super annoying is that it took them 9 months to add in a grand total of Big Team Battle, Griffball, Infection, and they rotate out a weekend playlist. Now, let me tell you something. They put in Team Snipers and Fiesta Slayer in the weekend playlist 7 times. Why not make them their own freaking game modes? The only thing I ever play in Halo 5 is Fiesta Slayer because I am super irritated that the respawn timer in normal Slayer is 8 seconds as compared to Fiesta Slayer's 5. 5 seconds is the perfect waiting time. I've been playing a lot of Halo Reach lately, and the respawn timer in that is 5 as well as most of the other Halo games. 5 seconds is just the amount of time. It gives you just the amount of time to silently rage and complain that there was lag and the guy was cheating, but it's not too much time where it's like, okay, let me go back in the game now. The most irritating thing to me about Arena is the fact that it's been changed left and right ever since the game has came out. Arena mode has been changed like 4 different times for freaking esports, which, let's be honest, it's not as big as it was when the game first came out. Breakout has changed. It's not even Breakout anymore. They just ruined Breakout. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it anymore, and it used to be one of my favorite game modes, and it's just dumb now. Another thing that has been changed constantly is the map rotation. Like, so many maps have been filtered in and out of community doubles. Now it's normal doubles. And in regular Slayer, they took out Pegasus and this map that launched with the game called Orion, which I have never played because they took it out a week after it came out and said they were going to fix it, never added it back, and I've never played it to this day. Another thing that they took out was freaking Assault. What was the point of having a whole update around Assault when they just take it right out of matchmaking? What's even more frustrating about Arena multiplayer is the fact that Infection and Big Team Battle were clearly never intended to be in Halo 5 or were never a priority, considering how they have no maps for them made by the developers. Everything in Big Team Battle and Affection are community made maps, and thank God for that, because without the community crying and screaming and wanting Halo to have these classic game modes, which they should have been at launch, let's all be honest here. Because of that, they added it in, and Big Team Battle was never a priority to them. They just wanted to market Warzone and make money off of rec packs. If 343 really cared about Big Team Battle being in the game, they would have had it at launch with Big Team Battle maps. A few positive things about Arena mode is when the game first came out, me and my buddies would get parties of 4 and go into Arena, Breakout, Slayer, and try to get the highest rank we could. That was always fun. And you'd get somewhat rewarded for completing all your placement matches. You get rank, and at the end of the month you get a rec pack with a cool emblem in it, which you can't get after the fact. Well, I don't know about that part. Another thing I like about Arena multiplayer is when they have weekend playlists that have more XP because they're the featured playlist for that week or weekend. But what I don't like about it is that those game modes should just be in the rotation constantly. I don't play much multiplayer in Halo 5 anymore just because it's lacking in content. Some things Halo 5 multiplayer is lacking is ranks do not matter. No one can see your rank except for your friends list. When you're in a lobby, you can't see gamer tags, and you also can't see who's talking unless you're in the game itself. Core mechanics of the game. The gameplay is very solid, very smooth, very fluid. I love the movement system, but I can also live without it, and I can also understand why people don't like it. But it works well with some of the maps, with the sprinting, the boosting, the clambering. I really liked it. I could care less if it's in the game or not. I'm not too super crazy over it, but I do like it, and I love how it fits smoothly and how matchmaking games actually are decent. When someone quits out, it doesn't black screen for 5 minutes as it tries to reconnect a host. Talking point number 4, theater mode. Not much to say about it. Every time I've used it, it doesn't work and it's still broken. Now the final talking point is custom games in Forge. Now I have barely put any time in Forge, but thankfully the Forge mode is just so good that I've been able to play some amazing maps and cool mini games that would have not been possible in older Forges. Now, it kind of sucks that Forge wasn't in the game at launch because that definitely hurt the sales numbers. The only thing that still keeps me coming back to this game is custom games. Now, custom games in Halo 5 are fun and all, but there's really not any good party games that you can play with a bunch of people. Like Halo Reach, I could just hop on and bounce in and out of lobbies and get a full lobby of custom games very quickly, and playing custom games that don't take any explaining to figure out. In Halo 5, custom games are more complex, and some of them are like, you know, just 3-player maps or 2-player maps or puzzles. That's good and all, but like there's not many party things, mainly because there's not King of the Hill. Infection wasn't in the game for the longest time, and they just don't have proper game modes to complete it. The custom game community, or Forge community, should keep this game alive, for me anyway, for a while, because, you know, there's always someone making maps out there. That there will be the end of the video. I know I didn't talk about everything in very fine detail, but there's already 100 reviews out there, hundreds of videos that depict everything wrong and good with this game, and I just want to talk about my thoughts on the game based off of memory. I've done like no research and everything is from memory. I mean, I've wrote a little bit of stuff down to help remember because it's kind of hard to retain all that information. But other than that, that's just everything I've experienced throughout this whole first year of Halo 5. Now, in my opinion, before 343 should continue on to make Halo 6, they should fix Halo 5 because Halo 4 letdown, Master Chief Collection, cool in theory, didn't work for the longest time. Halo 5, big letdown. Halo 6, if Halo 6 sucks, they might as well just stop the franchise in general. They can't have 4 bad releases in a row. Now, I love Halo franchise. I'm always going to buy the games. Maybe not Halo Wars 2, not my cup of tea, but I'm always going to buy the games. But next Halo game, Halo 6, or the next big one, I'm not going to hype myself up like I did for 4 and 5, because every time I've done that, the game just was a letdown, either by poor decisions or an unfinished game. Now, I cut Halo 4 some slack since it was kind of a transition game, and it was 343's first and stuff like that, but for Halo 5, man, it could have been the greatest game of 2015. It could have had an amazing campaign, which it didn't. If they had all the social playlists like they did in older Halo games at launch, it would have been so much better. If they had Forge at launch, so much better. If Theater would have worked at launch, or work at all, that'd be great. And if all those things worked out and 343 kept supporting it and making maps for, or putting in community maps in the playlist, it'd be a great game. But it didn't have any of that stuff. Or the things that they did put in the game weren't at the highest quality it could have been. But that's all I got for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know about your thoughts on Halo 5, and if you still play the game, because the game's a year old now, today. And I'm not going to be playing it as much just because all the games are coming out, like Battlefield, Titanfall, Gears 4, stuff like that. With all that said, this has been Agent 9400. Peace out.